This is TWiT.
I wouldn't mind an Xbox Steam Deck. Is that what we're talking here?
Yeah, so this has been one of those rumored things. There are still rumors that Microsoft was originally planning to have a first party, meaning their own device, as soon as this year, but that has been delayed. There's a lot of speculation about what's going on with Xbox hardware in-house that, you know, we had gotten that leak a couple of years ago about these refreshes that look really good to the Xbox Series X and S. And then what they shipped was basically the same consoles, like slightly different. You know, maybe you got the white one in black or the black one in white, and then a little bit more storage, whatever. There is one of the things they were looking at was going with ARM for the next generation, right? And we know that
makes a lot of sense.
Yep, and especially for a portable device, right? That's where that kind of thing makes sense. So
totally.
For that to work, though, that means that we have to get buy-in from developers and
you got to get
whatever.
games
So
compiled to ARM.
Yep. So what I developed a theory before any of this happened that Microsoft was going to combine Windows and Xbox for a gaming platform, meaning that the same exact game would just run on both. And that, you know, if you go and get like an Xbox logo for your app, which you have to get to sell that app in the Xbox store for the console, that the next gen version of this, it will be a Windows game, basically. Which makes it a lot easier on developers when you think about it, because there's a lot of developers creating just Windows games. And now maybe that opens up the console to this different kind of a thing. And I thought, you know, we've seen what they did in Windows 11 on ARM over the past year with things like AutoSR and the Microsoft Prism emulator to emulate apps especially, but also games to run better. So you can run like an x64 game, and not in all cases, but at a lower resolution, but it looks fantastic. So to your eyes, maybe it's 1080p, even though it's running at 720p or even less. Improves the frame rates, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe this is the thing that will make this ARM dream come true if they're still pursuing that. Phil Spencer has been talking about portable devices. They've been thinking about this for years. ARM would make a lot more sense on portable. And so, but we're in this holding pattern, right? This is the problem with Xbox. It's right now, it's just been a tough couple of years, right? And so, you know, it is a lot of uncertainty, but Microsoft had a Xbox game showcase on Sunday. They announced a bunch of stuff, you know, the next Call of Duty. There's a remake of the original Gears, and then there's a future Gears of War game coming as well, et cetera, a bunch of stuff. But of course, then they announced this Xbox branded, what they call a gaming handheld. Not a gaming handheld PC, by the way. It's a gaming handheld. And it's got the Xbox logo on it. It's the first time Microsoft has allowed a third party to ship I'm going to call it a computer or a device that's not a peripheral with their logo on it. Microsoft, if you've been following gaming on Windows, or especially in Windows 7, you know that they've been improving the Xbox app and the game bar dramatically. Both of them support a compact mode, which is explicitly for this new category of device, but I would have called it a gaming PC, but now we're going to call it a gaming handheld, I guess. And I think this might be a preview of how this platform is going to shift a little bit here. Because if you look at this business, Microsoft, you could make the argument that Microsoft Games, or whatever that part of the company is actually called, is really like Activision Blizzard and some other stuff. And the stuff that loses money is the worst part of it is the hardware, right? This has been the big problem for them.
It's always been at least just a break-even proposition at best. It's the money in the games.
Yeah. So Microsoft just look, they if they've proven anything on the hardware front, it's that they can't make a profit doing it. It's true of Surface as well. Farm it out. You know,
I mean, neither can Sony. Like, there's no money in the console hardware,
but they make a lot of the razor blades. Right. And companies like Sony and Microsoft or Nintendo are actually much better at cost reducing over time, so that they actually do make money on that hardware eventually, somewhere in that life cycle. They've done that. Microsoft has never been able to do that. So, yeah, I thought, well, you know, what if like maybe the next consoles, they don't have to be made by Microsoft, right?
Yeah.
And when you see
what do you care
thing,
if you're making the games?
Yeah. And what do you care if you're an Xbox fan, right? Other than the very basic comment that you want the platform to succeed for whatever reasons, that you love it. If the next console is kind of PC based, which, by the way, the current version, the last version, and the first version were all PC based. But now
just
maybe
a momentary lapse of reason in the middle.
It was that weird PowerPC, jumping the shark moment there. Although, by the way, that was the most successful one. But okay. They've done a terrific job of bringing forward games from the past. So you have this library of backward compatible games. They have the Play Anywhere stuff, so your games work in as many places as they can do. A lot of, some of that is constrained by the publishers, but look, say what you will about this business. They've done everything they can to expand the concept of Xbox and the availability of the money you've spent, the games that you bought with that money. And they've done a great job with that. This will be a lot easier if this thing was a PC platform, to say, a lot easier. So this is very interesting to me. So this Xbox branded third-party gaming handheld, right, made by ASUS, runs on what's called the AMD Z2 platform. This is the version of their PC chips made for handhelds, specifically for all the stuff. So they rely on like a small screen with a lower resolution than you would have on like a 16-inch laptop with the dedicated graphics or whatever. You guys will know, I write about this, I talk about this all the time. One of the biggest things that's happened over the past, I say almost 2 years now, is the integrated graphics, especially, but the chipsets that are in just mainstream laptops have improved to the point where I now just play games on a laptop, and not a gaming laptop with dedicated graphics, but anything based on Lunar Lake is fine. Mm-hmm. Anything based on the AMD Zen 5, depending on which chip you have, is either unbelievable or off the charts. Like, just, it's excellent.
What about Snapdragon?
So the Zen stuff is really good. And Snapdragon we're waiting on Gen 2 better graphics and whatever platform improvements come. So this is part of that.
Still a year away.
Yes. And NVIDIA and MediaTek are rumored to be working together on something that would have NVIDIA dedicated graphics with ARM, which makes that obviously very interesting, right? So, but again, if you're going to make Xbox be a PC, which no one has said, I'm just speculating here, then you want to go with the best chip. Now, AMD does make the chip in the Xbox. They made the chip in the previous Xbox. They make the chip in the PS4 and the PS5, or at least the PS5. I don't remember on the PS4. They're good at this. This is a strength. I can tell you on the PC side, on just a mainstream laptop, that stuff is off the charts. It's fantastic. I play Call of Duty at 2880 by 1800 on a laptop that does not have dedicated graphics, and it's 110 frames a second with all the graphics on full blast. It's unbelievable. Like, it's really good. So the Z2, I can't speak to that. The Z1 was in previous gen gaming handheld PCs. The Z2 is the latest version. 16, I think 32 gigs of RAM, 512 or a terabyte of storage. Doesn't have Thunderbolt 4 or whatever, but it's a 7-inch screen, 1080p. I think it's 120 hertz on both of them. There's two models. Xbox controller on the sides, right? Kind of a standard form factor for these devices. It looks good. It's good. It looks pretty good. Yeah. So I'm excited for this. I don't think this saves Xbox. I don't mean it like that. I don't think this is the
this
secret
could be
weapon
part of a new Xbox. So just not about the hardware. This is the tip of
an iceberg of other things that are coming that might include such things as third-party Xbox consoles, next gen, that have just like Copilot Plus PC, has a spec that you have to make sealed in the box from the factory to meet this spec. They will do something like that for Xbox, and they could call it whatever you want to call it. But on the software side,
Xbox certified, right?
Yeah, or Xbox, the Windows Xbox, or whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter. The handheld OS is Windows 11, but it's been heavily modified. It doesn't boot into the desktop. It boots into. It's sort of like, remember back in the day, you could boot into Program Manager, but you could boot into Notepad if you wanted to, right? So you boot into the Xbox app in compact mode. It has access to your other stores. So they showed off. Their store, what's it called? Not Blizzard, but Bethesda has a store, whatever it's called, Battle.net. But they confirmed later that Steam, Epic Games will be in there as well. So you have like a unified dashboard for all of your games, wherever they are. If you have those subscriptions through Microsoft, you get access to the Game Pass stuff. You get access to the game streaming stuff. Again, I don't have personal experience with the processor, but based on AMD in general, I'm probably thinking this is pretty good. Like on the device, 1080p, 7-inch screen, you're not pushing a lot of pixels. It's probably going to be pretty good. And it's PC, right? It's not Xbox. You're not playing Xbox games. But I'm thinking this might be where the platform goes. And then you get this thing, you get to this idea where Windows has gotten better for gaming. It's not perfect, it's still Windows, it's desktop OS. But you have this highly optimized thing. They didn't mention Dave Cutler by name, but they talked about they referred to the architects from Windows who had worked on Xbox OS before, modified Windows 11. Like, that's that team. It's the same people, right, that did the Hyper-V stuff for the Xbox, where this becomes the platform, right? And so if you think about like what's good about an Xbox, what's good about Windows, on the Windows side, you kind of trade complexity for infinite graphics. If you can spend the money, you can keep upgrading and keep getting better graphics, better performance, etc. On the Xbox side, you turn it on and it just works. And so this thing, and it's acceptable, like it's good. The graphics are good. So I think that this thing basically is like a middle ground. It's like something in the middle. It's still Windows. So it has, the advantage of all the compatibility, which is fantastic for games. The thing you don't get, by the way, on Steam OS, because it's Linux based, right? It's not exactly the same. Yes, it runs faster because Linux is smaller, but this thing runs faster too because it too is smaller. Like you basically get back like 2 gigs of RAM, which on a 16 gig system is meaningful.
Huge, yeah.
Yep. So I think this is the makings of something. And so based on what I've been thinking so far, I was like, well, what if like you could imagine like an Xbox Series S is basically like a NUC. And then an Xbox Series X, whatever the next version is called, is basically like a little mini tower that has like a dedicated graphic thing.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but this makes sense to me.
Hey, it's me, Leo Laporte. I hope you've enjoyed this little snippet from Windows Weekly. If you want to see more, want to catch the whole show, you can subscribe in your favorite podcast client or visit our website, twit.tv/WW. And of course, there's links right below me.